Welcome back to our 10-part series, again, on ways that you can look out for certain red flags when it comes to hiring a divorce attorney. Whether you're choosing this divorce attorney to help you litigate full-blown trial, whether you're looking for an attorney to help you in the collaborative process, reviewing with you and counseling you during mediation, or even just helping review some of your paperwork. You want to make sure that you're looking out for all of these 10 red flags because they really will be important in ways to help you save money when you're getting divorced. Today we're talking about the high fees versus the low transparency. And what that means is, well, I'm never going to say that an attorney should not get paid what they're worth. And some attorneys really are expensive, and that's just the reality. We have a lot of education behind us, a lot of skills behind us, a lot of time behind us, and our services do cost money. However, you're entitled to transparency when it comes to how much it is that you're paying. If you're navigating the divorce process, again, no matter which option you're using, having full transparency and fully understanding how it is that the legal fees are racking up and how it is that you're paying your attorney is extremely important. Do not underestimate this point. So let's get into it and talk about what does transparency mean and how you can look out for maybe certain hidden costs and have those honest conversations with your attorney about ways that you need to save money. Let's talk about why transparency is so important. When you're going through divorce, it is a highly emotional time. You're not necessarily thinking straight. You know, when you go to the store, the grocery store, and you're paying for your groceries and you see that it's off by a few dollars, or you see that you've applied certain coupons but maybe one of them didn't go through, you're able to stop and point that out to the cashier, letting them know, hey, there was $1.50 that didn't come off, because you're in a clear mind frame, right? You're looking at your groceries and you're thinking about what it is that you're going to be paying for, and you're sort of putting all of your groceries into a bucket, you're putting all of your expenses into a bucket, even if it's a mental bucket, because you're able to think clearly. When you're in the middle of a divorce, it's very different. Your emotions are running away with you. Your brain is not thinking in such a logical way as if you were grocery shopping. You're really thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to survive in the future? If we are two incomes in one household, how are we going to be able to parse this out? Maybe you're navigating what's going to happen with your children, a move, a change in job, mourning the relationship, worrying about your finances. All of these things are going through your head while you're still having to pay your attorney. So you're not going to scrutinize your bill or your receipt the same way you would as if you were at a grocery store. However, what I'm here to tell you is absolutely that's what you should be doing. You need to make sure that the fees are fully transparent and that you fully understand them in order for you to be able to trust your attorney, trust the process, and navigate through your divorce with a sense of ease and trust. From the time that you first meet with your attorney, from your first consultation, even if you don't meet with the attorney themselves, sometimes they have consultations with support staff or somebody else who works in the office. Make sure that you're asking them very clearly, how is your fee structure broken down? How will I pay you? Is there a retainer amount that I have to pay a certain amount and then I'm going to be charged for every minute that you're working on my case? Or is this a flat fee? Or is there something else that you can work out? But make sure that you're having those conversations from the beginning. Number one, not just because you're entitled to that information and you should know it, but also number two, it gives you an idea of how transparent and open your attorney is going to be about the fees. I'm not saying that attorneys are not going to be. What I'm saying is there's a comfort level as far as them talking about it. Oh, it's okay, I'm not going to charge you for that. It's okay. We're just going to take the retainer and then we'll go over it from there. That's not reassuring when you're trying to budget out how you're going to pay for your attorney over the course of your divorce. You need to make sure that you're getting very clear instructions and that your attorney really is picking up on your anxiety and your emotions related to how it is that you're going to be paying these fees. So not only is your attorney going to be able to speak to you about it, but they're also going to give you a written agreement. Normally we call it a retainer agreement that's going to state in writing how much they're charging, how it is that they bill, how often they bill, and you have an opportunity to review it and do not sign it unless you fully understand it. So you've made it past your initial consultation and you are comfortable with the way your attorney is going to be billing. So now they start working, you start working together on your strategy, on how it is that you're going to be moving forward, and then you start receiving invoices from your attorney. Make sure that you are reviewing all of your invoices as soon as you get them. Sometimes you can't right away. You might be in the middle of work, you might have something coming up this weekend, but certainly do it within a few days. You want to make sure that you're looking through the entire invoice as to all of the time that has been spent, If there seems to be an overcharge, if there seems to be something that maybe isn't matching up, make sure that you're bringing it to your attorney's attention immediately. As soon as you notice that there's any discrepancy or something seems off, make sure that you're mentioning this to your attorney. Now, please remember, attorneys are humans, so sometimes mistakes are made. I know my office has certainly made mistakes. We welcome when our clients let us know, hey, it looks like maybe you billed twice for this, or it looks like the call said it was an hour, but it was intended to be 0.1 instead of 1. I have no problem going back and fixing it, and I don't know any attorney who does. If you bring up these concerns to your attorney and they seem to be evading the question, if they seem to be pushing it off, this is a really huge red flag, because transparency in the billing, how it is that you are actually paying for these fees and how your attorney is actually including those charges is very important. Not only is it important for you and how you're going to navigate your divorce, but it's also important for us as attorneys. We are required to bill you in an ethical manner. We are required to give you information that is transparent. You're entitled to know this information. So if your attorney seems to be dodging it or evading these questions, that could be a huge red flag, and you need to address it right away. And just like I said before, you are dealing with so many emotions right now. You're trying to navigate how you're going to juggle childcare and getting to work and changing your entire lifestyle now. And then you don't want to be burdened or struggling to try to figure out your attorney fees and how this is going to work going forward. So addressing it immediately, as soon as you notice a problem, bringing it up to the support staff at your attorney's office, bringing it up to your attorney directly, and making sure that you let them know, I'm not comfortable moving on until we're able to address that. Sometimes, giving the attorney the benefit of the doubt, they might be in the middle of 12 different things. Something might have fallen off. Again, we're all humans. So you want to make sure you give them the benefit of the doubt and let them know that you want to speak to them about it. That's when you'll know if it's a red flag or it's just a human mistake. If your attorney says, oh my goodness, absolutely, we're going to discuss it. Let's set some time aside and you point out the issues that you're seeing, and then I'll let you know what it is that I'm seeing. If your attorney addresses it like that, that's great, right? Because they want to be just as transparent with you as you're trying to be with them. However, if your attorney keeps kicking it down the road, or they keep making up excuses, or they don't give you the time to sit down and explain it, or they have given you the time with maybe one of their support staff, but they're not doing it themselves, even though you've asked, that's a really big red flag, and you need to make sure that you're letting your attorney know that from jump. I'm not going to be comfortable moving forward until we've cleared up this invoice, this billing issue. I can't move forward working with you when I'm so stressed about the money until I'm clear on it. Nitpicking about a bill is not the same thing as being clear on the invoice and everything that you're being charged. When you are sitting down with your attorney, understand that every time that they're working on your matter, you're going to get charged for it. And what I'm talking about is when you're billed hourly. This is how most of the attorneys that I know practice. They take a large retainer up front, and then they pull from that as they're billing hourly. That means that if they answer one email, they take one phone call, and it only takes a minute or two. That seems like it's only a minute. You don't have to charge me for that. However, your attorney has to stop working on anything else that it is they're doing to answer an email, to pick up a phone call, to work on your matter. Your attorney should have a written retainer agreement that they've given to you, and it lays out in there that they are entitled to use that 1 minute to stop what they're doing, work on your matter, and bill you for it. So it's going to show up on your invoice. So just know that if you're going to be nitpicking every time your attorney is working on your matter, that might be a totally different conversation. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about your attorney being transparent and open with you about how it is that they are billing. I'm not talking about trying to nickel and dime your attorney and tell them, I'm not happy that you charged me 0.1 on that. Let's have a conversation so you can take that off. That I do not think is fair for any of us to do. We as professionals are entitled to the money that we earn, just as when you go to work, you expect to make money from your employer. That's how we attorneys make money. The best way to protect yourself from any of the confusion when it comes to how it is that your attorney is going to be charging and how to address this red flag head on is to ensure that you have everything in writing. As I stated before, a retainer agreement is generally what you receive when you're first hiring that attorney. Make sure you take that retainer agreement, you read it very carefully, take it home with you. You don't have to look at it and sign it right in front of the attorney at that moment when you first consult with them. You can take it home, you can parse through it, you can ask questions about it. This is a contract that you are signing with that attorney. If If you have any questions about the transparency of the billing, how it is that you're going to be charged, how much money you're going to have to give, you ask all of those questions in advance. This is your money. This is your divorce. This is your future. I have no problem when a client comes in and asks me, oh, can you just explain this? I'm a little unclear on this. And then you give them that information. If any attorney gives you a hard time about answering those questions regarding the retainer agreement, maybe you should start thinking about looking somewhere else. Something else to think about is asking the attorney, might there be any extra fees? It's not just about what the attorney charges. What other charges might there be? A process server. There might be somebody who has to actually take the paperwork and serve your soon-to-be ex. That's an additional fee. Once you're in court, there are court filing fees. That's money that is paid directly to the county clerk or to the court themselves. That's not money that the attorneys make, but that's an additional fee. There might be depositions. You have to pay for, not only for your attorney to prep that, you have to pay for a stenographer or a court reporter to be there to transcribe everything. There are so many additional fees that there might be in your case. So make sure that you're asking your attorney, what do you anticipate? You know, we might not be able to know everything, right? We don't know that you will need a stenographer. Maybe we won't have depositions. However, ask them what the possibilities are so that you know, okay, there might be additional fees here, here, and here, and this is something to think about. It's also important to know how they're going to bill you, how often they're going to bill you, because we are working on your matter on a regular basis. Some attorneys will send out their invoice or their bill every week, every 2 weeks, every month. In New York, we're allowed to do it up to every 60 days. So it really depends, but ask them, because sometimes if you receive a bill 60 days after your attorney started working on your matter and they're doing a lot of work, you might feel a little bit of a gut punch when you get 60 days worth of work on one invoice. That might feel a little shocking. So maybe you speak to your attorney. You know what? I'm more comfortable getting it more often. Is this something we can talk about? Can I get a bill every week? See what your attorney says. See how it is that their practice works and see what works best for you. And while I know the online world is not always real, looking at an attorney's reviews that are online regarding their billing practices really can be very telling. I have seen many reviews online for attorneys with people who have serious concerns about how it is that attorney bills. You should consider taking your time and reading through those online reviews to get a feel for how other people have reacted to billing practices from this attorney that you're thinking about hiring. Sometimes there are disgruntled people who just didn't get what they wanted in court and maybe they feel a certain way and they're writing a review because they're very upset. However, I will say that if you read through them, you can usually parse through somebody who's upset for the sake of being upset, or maybe somebody who spotted an issue that they were having over and over, especially if you see it from more than one person. Maybe there are 2 reviewers who say that they had issues with the billing practice. Maybe there's 3, maybe there's dozens. That should really be a big red flag that you should look out for. So let's wrap all of this up. If you're hiring an attorney and that attorney does not seem like they're being open and transparent about their fees, how it is that they're going to charge you, that is a big red flag that I don't know that you can overcome. I really highly suggest that you speak to the attorney about it, look at their reviews, make sure that you're speaking to other people who maybe you know who have worked with them, and make sure that you are very clear on being comfortable with the billing practice and the transparency of that law firm before you decide to move forward with them. You should never settle for unclear billing practices. Always ask. You're entitled to that. Thank you so much for watching part 4 of our 10-part series on red flags to look out for when you're hiring a divorce attorney. Thank you for joining us today on Divorce Den, and for red flag number 5, watch our next video.